When you think about calisthenics, you probably think about basic exercises like push-ups, dips, pull-ups, and bodyweight rows. These are really great exercises, but just doing these exercises, especially when you are starting, is going to make you miss a few other movement patterns that could really help you look more yoked. And one of those movements is a type of overhead press. I remember when I tried to get to my first pull-up, how frustrating it felt, because I couldn't even do one. So all I did was negatives. After a few months, I was able to do a few pull-ups and I discovered the bodyweight row. I felt a bit disappointed that I didn't know about it sooner, but also grateful that I discovered it. The same thing happened to me with the pike push-up. Basically an overhead press but with your own body weight. And it might not seem like a big deal, but if you only do pure calisthenics, and if you are starting, it is. The upper traps, the shoulders, and the upper chest are muscles that greatly influence how muscular you look. And let's say the only pushing movements you do in calisthenics are push-ups and dips. And I have nothing against them, they are great exercises. The issue is that if you only do them, you're missing out on your shoulders, upper traps, and upper chest, assuming that you do pure calisthenics. I guess if you do weights and weighted calisthenics, everything I'm going to say is not going to matter because you might as well do an overhead press with dumbbells or a barbell at that point. If you go to the gym, doing heavy barbell shrugs or farmer walks will give you great upper traps, or just holding a barbell will do enough. If you want an upper chest, you might just do an incline bench press, or if you want good shoulders, you can do a bunch of exercises like an overhead press with a barbell. But when we talk about basic calisthenic exercise that target those muscles to that extent, most people won't know how to respond. But simply adding the pike push-up with some of their variations or doing handstand push-ups against the wall will improve your physique. Any kind of overhead press will hit your upper traps, your shoulders, and your upper chest. And this also applies to the pike push-up or the handstand push-up. If you were to get a pair of dumbbells and be at the start of an overhead press, you will feel how your upper traps start stretching and you start feeling them. Of course, the upper traps can deal with more weight, but you get what I mean. The same happens if you do a pike push-up on parallel bars. Doing them on parallel bars will allow you to get that extra range of motion, which will stretch your upper traps, and you do feel them. You can always do handstand push-ups on the wall if pike push-ups are not enough. They are very fun to do because they don't take that many reps to reach failure compared to a normal push-up, which gives you that repetition range contrast of high reps push-ups compared to heavy low reps handstand push-up training, at least if you're not good at handstand push-ups. And you know, the difference it will make on your shoulders and upper traps is also huge if you don't do weights. 1 year ago, I started to seriously train the freestanding handstand push-up. Maybe back then I could maybe do like 2 freestanding handstand push-ups on the floor, and now I can do 13 reps. And so far, I have noticed differences mainly on my shoulders, my upper chest, and my upper traps. And that is taking into account that most of the time I didn't reach failure because that will only hinder my capacity to do more sets. Although I did reach close to failure on most of my sets, even despite the balancing aspect. Now, I know it is somewhat unfair and close-minded to name a single exercise as the single variable as to why you will get results, but I think it is worth saying that the handstand push-up, either with the wall or without the wall, will make you look jacked, especially if you train it hard and put priority to it, or even the pike push-up, especially when you are bulking and attempting to gain weight. Something I have noticed is that overhead pressing is not as popular as a bench press. For example, simply pushing something above your head is not as popular as pushing something horizontally for some reason. And I guess that this is also true with basic calisthenic exercises and their popularity. A bunch of people will do dips or push-ups as their first exercise, but never do pike push-ups or handstand push-ups on the wall. Although it may also be because the pike push-up is harder than a dip. Or maybe it is because people never go through learning the pike push-up, but they go through learning the dip. Because I remember how tough learning the dip was. Maybe this is a case of weightlifting programming transferring on calisthenic training. Not only training the pike push-up and the handstand push-up will make your upper traps, shoulders, and upper chest grow, but your shoulder strength will also increase. And over time, you can also learn to do the handstand push-up, the free one, which is a huge plus because it is really fun. And one of the things about training for strength or muscle is having fun. Also, I have noticed that having strong shoulders makes the dip more chest focused. The dip also involves the shoulders, right? So if your shoulders are already stronger than your chest, then your chest is going to feel their weakness once you are doing them, especially if you avoid the lockout and stay in that bottom partial range of motion, like prison type training. Basically, I feel more my chest on dips now that I have stronger shoulders, but that may also be a result of simply not focusing on my chest as much. Now, to somebody that doesn't do pure calisthenics, this may seem irrelevant because of all the exercises that will target their shoulders, upper traps, and upper chest. But if you only do pure calisthenics, I think that focusing on an overhead press exercise and reaching failure can greatly improve your physique. Of course, that is taking in account that you are not a master in planche and front lever, which will also give you tremendous shoulders and upper traps. If you ever feel that high volume basic calisthenic exercises don't give you that yoked or muscular look, try adding a handstand push-up against the wall or a pike push-up to your training. Although if you do calisthenic ring training, your upper traps are probably working overtime trying to stabilize your whole body.